Today, on Zero to Awesome, I'm going to attempt to do the impossible. I'm actually going to try and finish one of my projects. In my garage, I am literally surrounded by projects that are like 90% of the way done. But today, we're gonna try and finish one, or at least we'll see what happens. It's my Polaris, my 2009 Polaris Ranger. A little bit of backstory, Steve and I bought some Polarises at a surplus auction, a Ritchie Brothers Iron Planet, whatever it was auction. Steven got his fully working, takes off-roading, uses around his house. Mine, I took it off-roading, but never quite finished it. And in fact, now it won't start, and it's kind of in the way in my garage. I need to move it. Let's put all the parts sitting in the back of my Polaris on the table and see what kind of work we're going to do today. As you might be able to tell, we have a small number of deferred projects to do on the Polaris. The first one is it doesn't start. I put a new battery in it, you turn the key, you can hear the fuel pump kick on, but it doesn't start, or it'll start sometimes. One of two things is wrong. Either the starter has gone out or there's like a Bendix on the starter that might have gone out. I already replaced the starter solenoid. This is the old one, didn't do anything. So I've got a new starter right in here. That needs to get installed. Also, my lights up here never got wired in. So somewhere in one of these boxes, there's a generic wiring harness kit to wire those in. When I did take it off-roading last, I broke some axles. So we've got two new axles that have to go in the rear. The winch up front, I made a nice mounting plate. I figured out how to mount a winch where there's not supposed to be a winch up here. But, well, much like the lights, I never wired it in. So I've got all of the wiring and the contactor and everything for the winch that has to go in. This box, I don't even know if this box is various bearings and parts and oil filter and air filter and just service items. So we need to what? I don't even know what's in this box. There was an incident when we were Raptor lining these and painting these that I accidentally painted my speedometer. I accidentally Raptor lined my speedometer, but with some acetone and razor blade, I was able to clean it up. So I need to rebuild, put my speedometer back in here, get all the switches and everything back in here, and just kind of rebuild and reinstall that center console. So first things first, I think we're gonna start by trying to get it started. So we're gonna switch out the starter. First, we need to find the starter. It's either under the seat by the motor or under the bed. I don't know, let's find out. If I were the starter, where the hell would I be? Oh, I forgot to mention my seat looks like it was eaten by a bear, so I need to recover this seat also. Oh, and now that I look underneath the seat, I forgot my ECU is duct taped on, so I need to mount that back somewhere where it's not gonna fall off. But first, I think actually starter's right here. I got the old starter out, and I really don't know if it was a starter, if it was the Bendix, or something else. So out of curiosity, we're just going to try and test our starter. Conveniently, due to other unfinished projects, I have a lot of brand new well-charged batteries lying around. So we're going to hook up the, why are my jumper cables so melted? That's mildly concerning. But we're going to hook up the negative to the negative, and the positive to the positive. And then over here on our starter, our negative, our ground, was just on the body of the starter. So we're gonna hook that up right there. And this is where our positive was. And our positive was right here. So I wonder if it'll actually, spin and try and start. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it wasn't the starter. Battery's in. Fuel pump turns on and primes. Nothing. Well, it's running, and I don't know why. I was turning the key, I was getting nothing. I had popped the little hood up here, was using my multimeter to check voltage, to check the continuity through the relay. I actually had the voltage, one side of the multimeter on the battery, the other side on the other side of the relay. I was getting 0 volts, 0 volts, 0 volts while I was turning the key, and then it just started. So I don't know why it started. It's been acting a little weird, like it doesn't want to start every time. Always sit on your open engine bays. Fuel pump clicks on, and now it's starting. I mean, we'll try that a couple more times, but I think the next step is time to repaint and reassemble my dash. Welcome back to night 2 in my garage of getting the Polaris running, and it sat here. It's actually night 3. I didn't get to work on this last night, but the Polaris has sat out here for a day now. I wonder if it still starts. Fuel pump. All right, still works. Kind of, I guess. Tonight's job is to fix this mess. So to do that, we have to put the dashboard back on. I Raptor lined the dashboard with a spray can of Raptor liner. We used Raptor liner in air sprayer form to do the bodies. This is just a spray can, and well, it looks close enough. So what electrical do we have to do? We need to reinstall the speedometer, reinstall the 4-wheel selector, reinstall the light switch, and then also I plan on hot wiring the lights from the light bar and the winch into this dash. Some wire connectors, some heat shrink, and we have a cool little winch in, winch out button compared to, I don't know, compared to this little piece of junk. Where is the little piece of junk? I lost the piece of junk, but compared to some junky little switch that came with the winch, we've got our good switch. I need to hot wire our light switch, and these guys already have wiring harnesses on them, so they should just plug right back into what was in the Polaris. So I am using these wire connectors. Super handy, super convenient. There's all sorts of different types, but basically the sizes are based on the color, and your crimp tool is color coded. So you just align the right color crimp tool with the right color connector, and there's all different types of connectors. These ones are just regular plastic connectors, hard plastic connectors. The other ones that I am using are heat shrink connectors because, well, this thing goes in the mud and goes in the dirt, and I figure the more waterproofing, the more better. So we're using heat shrink crimp connectors. We're also heat shrinking the heck out of this stuff and zip tying wires together. And well, just lots of organizing of wires. I'm gonna have to go through and do the same thing with all of this mess and nonsense. But we're getting close. Do you like how all of the Raptor liner came off of there so nicely?
Yeah, that's nice. Can you undrink the pickle beer now?
Good as new. Oh, I've undrunk some pickle beer in my day. So here is what was going on. These lights, which were cut off of the 4Runner, are being wired by a Harbor Freight brand, yeah, one of those. So that goes into this relay, which hooks up to the battery, which I am cutting this switch off of to use the switch that I put on there. And to wire it up, I originally just had this oversized wiring harness zip tied on here, and then I thought, hey, I can just tuck it down this little hole and tuck it down that little hole. But unfortunately, I already cut the end because it's got a plug. Yeah. So I cut that plug off, and with lots of nice heat shrink and heat wrap, I reconnected this light. So I think now I need to cut this wiring harness again to stuff it down the hole.
Well, we're just take the fender off.
Will the fender come around the hole?
Sure, we can squeeze it.
I was just gonna cut the wire.
No.
I mean, why not just splice more wires? It's an auction Polaris here.
That's true. Actually,
We need to keep that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say just cut that one.
I was just gonna cut this wire right here.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to redo all the hard work I did right there. Because look how nice that is. Look at that.
But then you have two connections. If you just cut this one again, it's just still one connection.
Yeah, but oh god, that's the right way to do it. Fine, do it the right way. Well, am I even gonna use the ground? Because
Yeah, you gotta use ground.
All right, so this has a black, a white, and a blue. That's weird.
Yeah, right.
Huh. I feel like the middle one is going to be illumination.
12 volts comes in through here. Oh, there's a relay hooked up to it too, isn't there?
Yeah, this is just turning on the
why.
relay. That's fine, right?
I've seen worse.
Yeah, so we're gonna throw some zip ties on this, but everything is wired in. We've got our, there's actually more wiring for lights than there are lights, I just realized. Little cleaning up to do in here, but the lights, everything should work. Yeah, hit the lights. Yeah, send the winch out. Oh yeah.
You know, now that it's all back together, it's not gonna start.
Here's the big question, will it start?
I mean, it tried to start.
Huh. I'll give her a little, give her a little gas,
Oh.
It might be out of gas.
Actually, your gas gauge is working now.
Is it really?
Yeah. It says you're half full.
Oh, the gas gauge has never worked before.
Oh, I killed it again.
It hasn't been run in a while.
Yeah, let's go. We'll let it warm up.
Yeah, we'll let it warm up. All right, so I think the Polaris is back together. We're gonna move the Austin Healey in here, and then I'll clean it up. Little.
Fun fact, we're gonna move the Austin Healey with the Polaris.
That's true. So you'll see that in another video, or maybe this video. I don't know how it's gonna come out. It's a little dirty because it's been sitting not running in my garage for what, like a year?
This is not
now?
dirty, mine's dirty.
Oh, well, it's been. My girlfriend just had to park outside so I could park my non-running Polaris in the garage.
And now you're gonna park your non-running Austin Healey in the garage.
Next to the kind of running Volkswagen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Nothing parked in this garage costs more than $3,000. I'll tell you that. So, yeah, I'll button those wires up, and I need to. A couple other things we talked about. 2 axles need to go in because one of the rear axles is broken. But 4-wheel drive, so we only need 3 axles today. Yeah, and some other accessories we've discussed. But gonna move an Austin Healey, and we'll be back to the Polaris project. So it's been a hot minute since I've done some Polaris work, got distracted by other projects, but I'm still working on the Polaris and we're still going to get it done. So a lot of progress has happened. All of the electrical is done. The new starter is in. It starts up just fine. Looks like a little bit of a rat's nest in there, but we're not gonna talk about that. Our control panel, our dash, all of this works again. Our switches, our lights. Everything is functioning, it starts, so we just have a couple mechanical things left to fix. And the first is the sway bar, and we're gonna fix the sway bar by throwing it away. This is the rear sway bar that was on the Polaris, and it was broken when I bought it, so I welded it back together. And then the first time I took it off-roading, it broke again. So it's going in the trash. I'm not replacing it. For off-roading, you don't want a sway bar anyways. It just keeps you from articulating your wheels. So that's fixed via the trash can. If we come back here to the back of the Polaris, we have a broken axle. I already replaced the front axles on this thing when I bought it. First time we took it off-roading, I broke one of the rear axles. I'm fairly certain it's this one. Even if it's not this one, the CV boot is all torn up and is full of gunk and mud and crap. And if that's not the broken one, it's gonna fail soon anyways. This one over here, yeah, it's still nice and tight and solid. So axle needs to come out. We've done many axles here on Polaris at 0 to awesome, and they're not fun. They're supposed to just pull out, and they don't just pull out of the transfer case. Usually a lot of beating and heat and hammering, and usually the axle falls apart, falls out of the CV joint, so you gotta weld it back together, and it's not fun. So let's start that process. We need to disassemble the entire assembly, the wheel assembly, get the axle free, take the brakes off, take the shock off, take all this apart, and then just yank the hell out of this right here. I've already been hitting it with some PB Blaster to loosen up some of that rust, so now it's just wrenches and hammers and blowtorches. The keen viewers out there might notice I'm wearing different clothes. This is because it has been a couple more days and the Polaris is still not done. We're still missing our wheel back there. And that's because we encountered a number of catastrophes. Catastrophe number one was that when I was taking apart the suspension back there to get the axle in, all of my bushings just started disintegrating. This shouldn't just fall apart like that. And these are the good ones. The bad ones are in the trash because they just fell apart in my hand. So I've got all new bushings, had to wait for these to show up. Also this right here, this is not just a solid piece of metal. This is a bolt that is completely rusted inside the little metal sheath that goes inside of the control arm. So I had to order new ones of those. And I had to track down the replacement bolts that I had to cut apart to get the original ones out. And then on top of that, when I was taking everything apart, the bearing inside my wheel hub fell apart. So I had to get new bearings, and then on Christmas Day, take a little trip over to Steven's house to celebrate Christmas, and then also to use his shop press so I could press out the old bearing and press the new bearing in, and there were just like some mild injuries. But also there was eggnog, so that was fine. Everything I think is finally ready to reassemble. We've got our new bearing pressed in. We've got all of our new bushings and parts for the upper and lower control arms in the suspension. And if we grab our flashlight and head back here, our new axle is in. So it is hopefully reassembly time followed by driving time. Welcome back to day 304,000 of my Polaris not running properly. So I fixed everything we set out to fix. New axles in, suspension is rebuilt, sway bars and stuff are taken off, done maintenance, new air filter and oil and all that fun stuff. I actually found out my air filter housing is a weird oval shape. It's not supposed to be, so I'm either going to try and put this in the oven and melt it back into shape or just order a new one. But we have a bit of a problem where it's not idling right. I thought it might have been some bad gas, so I actually opened up the gas tank and pumped it out and cleaned it out. And it was exciting because there was like dead bugs and pieces of metal and stuff in the gas tank, but it still doesn't idle right. And what I learned is I was getting a check engine code, and to check the check engine code on my Polaris Ranger, you simply turn this on and off 3 times, and then it'll say wait. And then once we wait for a little while, still waiting, so there we go. It gives us a number, and that number 41 means our engine air input sensor isn't working right. And what that is there's a little sensor way up in there that I've read 2 things about. Apparently it's pretty common on this model Ranger that the wires going to that sensor are a little small and a little weak, and they just over time vibrate and break. So I've got a new wiring harness showing up. Or I was thinking when I put my new air filter in, this one right here, it was really nasty and really dirty, and my filter box was like full of a lot of dirt and oil and grime. So maybe that sensor is just dirty. So I've got a new wiring harness which should be delivered today, and then while I'm waiting for that to show up, I am going to disassemble, well hopefully get up in there and disassemble that sensor and see if we can't clean it out and get it to work that way. So clean the sensor, maybe install a plug, and then maybe just maybe we'll be done with the Polaris. Update time. Everything is reassembled. We step on the brake because you have to do that. We hear the fuel pump prime. Uh-oh, that's not good. Let's try that again. Yeah, and if we don't give it gas, it dies. So new wiring harness is here, and it's about to go in. So we're going to unassemble everything we just reassembled, switch out the wiring harness, and then try again. And if this doesn't work, I guess we just start ordering new sensors until it does work. So I'll see you again soon. Keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully this works. The sun is going down, so we're gonna have to be relatively quick, but she's done. She's all done. It's been, I don't know, 2 years since I bought this thing. It was a, well, I haven't recovered the seat, but is that necessary? No, it's not. It was a turd. It was all green and sun damaged. This entire side, the roll bar, everything was crushed. We fixed the plastic, we raptor lined it, we built tailgates and very aggressive shovels, added a tire carrier thing, which was completely necessary. And most importantly, now it actually runs. So let's go through a completely unnecessary drive through my neighborhood, shall we? It's street legal. I want to say two things. One, she's working pretty well, and two, I'm getting a lot of strange looks from everyone at this park. But the music sounds great. Bluetooth connected to my phone. This might need something better than a zip tie, but whatever. My regular headlights and my light bar fully functioning. The winch, it goes in and out with my winch button, or I can use my remotes. So I don't know why I installed the winch button when I have remotes, but it works. I guess I'm going to drive home before I get a ticket. And I turned the motor off, so I really hope it actually is fixed and it still starts. Otherwise, I'll be walking home or swimming. I don't know how cold it is, but that might work. Anyways, thank you for watching this long journey. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy our nonsense here at Zero to Awesome. And you'll see me finish another project in about 10 years.
Just the traditional Christmas pressing. That sounds terrible.
Oh, if this pipe comes out and smacks me.
No, it's okay. It's Aaron's car. It's fine. No, that's it coming out. That's the right noise. You want that noise.
Something just happened. Alan's drink was spilled.
Well, it got my arm a little bit, but
The glass isn't broke. It's a Christmas miracle.
you just made that though. You get to finish my eggnog.
Oh no, the jack slipped off. Look at that.
Oh, look
That's
at
what
this.
happened. Come on, Harbor Freight.
What?
Gosh.
Did the jack break?
No, it just slipped off. It just comes out.
It came off.
Yeah.
But look at this though.
Oh,
Look at that.
look at that.
It's almost there.
You could put a vise on that and probably
Yeah.
just do a little bang.
Or just a hammer.
Yeah.
Just put it in the vise.
We'll get the same press thing and take a hammer to it.
Oh, where did the